Hey everybody, I just want to preface this video by letting you know that unfortunately the video portion of this tournament report that I recorded with all the graphics included got corrupted during the rendering process and I was unable to retrieve it. I also at that point no longer had my notes from the matches, so I didn't have anything to really touch on to re-record the content, and I was kind of in a rush to make sure I got this out to you guys. So I just wanted to say that I'm going to be releasing this tournament report, this part 1 as well as part 2, as a kind of a podcast style instead for the time being. So there's going to be no visual elements, it's just going to be purely audio. So I hope that you guys kind of enjoy listening to me ramble on about my tournament experience and talking about the choices I made during gameplay and the plays in which I made to get me ahead, or plays in which that I felt that I misplayed. I just kind of want to turn this into a bit more of a discussion. So if you guys have any more questions or comments about anything that you hear in this audio, don't hesitate to leave a comment below and I will get back to you. And if you have anything that you want to say to me as well, don't be afraid to leave a comment as well. And I make sure I read every single one of them, and I will reply to you guys as soon as possible. So without further ado, here is part 1 of my tournament report from the official Bandai Webcam event that I participated in this past weekend. Hello fellow tamers and Digidestined, I am Mike from Overground, and welcome back to my living room, where in this very room we participated in the first ever official Bandai Webcam event. We participated in the event held by Carta Magica. This was the same TO that held the event last weekend, where we actually placed first with our Omnimon Blue deck list. If you haven't seen the deck list that we placed for this event, which was also Omnimon Blue, just with a few minor changes, I will leave a link in the description below. So today, this kind of vlog style video is just going to be detailing my match by match breakdown and kind of give you a brief overview of my tournament experience and a tournament report of sorts as well. So I took a lot of notes after every single match, just to kind of figure out what was the game-breaking moves that helped me win, what were the misplays that made me lose, what were some interesting thoughts I had at the end of the match, etc., etc. So for a first official event, we ended up getting second place both days in a row. How upsetting. Just short of victory. On Saturday, on the first day, we ended up finishing with 1 loss, so we went 5 wins, 1 loss at the end of 6 rounds, and then on Sunday there was 5 rounds, we had 4 wins, 0 losses, but 1 draw. So I'd like to say technically on Sunday we were undefeated, but alas, the points speak for themselves, and congratulations to the winner. The first place on Saturday was another Omni Blue deck, I believe, and the first place on Sunday was a green deck. I will be flashing the usernames of the people who won on screen right now. My username, if you're unfamiliar on Discord, is Synaku. That's S-Y-N-A-K-U, colloquially known as Sin among the Digimon community, I guess, of sorts. It's a little confusing because my username on Discord is not Overground, so some people are trying to find the channel. They get a little mixed up, but yeah, Overground is Synaku, Synaku is Overground. That's just the name that I've had with me for literally years. That's been my nickname and my gamer tag as long as I can remember. But with that out of the way, let's talk about the tournament itself. So I'm just going to refer to my notes every so often. I hope that's all right, but I'm going to go through this as quickly as possible. So day 1 on Saturday, round 1 was purple. This is the purple Piedmon deck that many of you may or may not be familiar with. Basically, it revolves around using filling up your graveyard as quickly as possible using effects like Pagumon or Impmon, and then filtering through your deck with effects like Tapirmon and Gabumon to just kind of fill your trash pile as quickly and efficiently as possible. And then you slam down Piedmon, you bring back some Digimon, and then you just continue to control the board like that. Whether it be 2 Devamon to give you retaliation, a blocker or 2 blockers to give you some protection, and mix of both, kind of depending on how you want to even out. Piedmon does a lot of things for you, and he's a great addition to the purple card pool as a whole. And in this game 1 against purple, I kind of controlled the board with Metal Garurumon a lot. I would evolve up a chain with Grizzlymon as a blocker into Metal Garurumon and then kind of pop the Grizzlymon out. I did this because purple generally has a bit of a mini rookie rush strategy and of sorts, where they'll just kind of keep promoting small Digimon and then attack with them, because when they are destroyed they'll get inherent value. The good thing about having a blocker early is that a lot of their small Digimon cap out at about 4,000, because generally they'll only evolve into like a Wizardmon or maybe even a Devamon, and Devimon withstanding, the blocker will generally take out whatever they're attacking with, so I don't have to worry about losing security early on in the game to those small Digimon. And yeah, so that's how I was able to kind of take game one. The Metal Garurumon I built in my raising area, so I didn't have to worry about getting Trump sorted. And then the next turn after it came out, I attacked, popped the Grizzlymon out. It was already suspended, so they couldn't Trump sort it again going into their turn, and then they couldn't hit me on the backswing as well. And then as the rest of the game progressed, he dropped Paimon for an absurd amount of memory on my end. I was able to build up into another Mega. Omnimon is bored, and then proceed to win from there. Game two, we kind of traded resources back and forth for a really long time, but then it got to a point where I hit his security and I hit a mat, and when I hit the purple mat, he was able to bring back Heat Viper to his hand, and that kind of put me on the bit of a back foot. So I decided to make a play that I thought I would try to bait him, and I had enough memory to bring out two rookies, and then I was able to bring out the level 4, 6 cost Garurumon that lets me unsuspend a Digimon when it comes into play. And I had a Metal Garurumon that was already suspended, so I unsuspended the Metal Garurumon. So now my board was Metal Garurumon, two rookies, a blocker, and this Garurumon. And my thought process was I'm going to put him to 6. I'm going to force him to either have Heat Viper or Trump Sword, but if he has both, that's going to give me enough memory to ride whatever's left into my last attacker and just attack for game. And unfortunately, he actually had both. He had both Heat Viper and Trump Sword, but again, my strategy worked. I was able to promote whatever I had in the raising area, ride it all the way up to a Plesiomon, attack his last security, and then attack with what remaining level 4 I had for game, which I believe was a blocker, so the memory loss was negligible because he had no blockers to kind of stop the onslaught as well. So yeah, that was round 1. Now we're going to go into round 2, and round 2 was actually the Blue Omnimon Mirror match, where once again we had to face our friend George, Espira TCG. This one I'm actually going to link his Twitch channel in the description as well, so you can watch the game for yourself. Our game started about the hour and 26 minute or so mark. If I can get the exact timestamp, I'll post it in the description as well. If not, just kind of take my word for it around that time. This is a bad one for me, and this was my only loss of the entire event on Saturday, which George, it was well-deserved on his end because of how he ended up unfortunately misplaying last week against me, so this was kind of his revenge match, and it kind of came full circle in a sense. So I'm very proud of him for taking this, and although I'm really upset that he beat me and cost me that first place, I'm happy for him because he was able to top this event as well and get 6th place at the end of the day. But in Game 1, I actually made a misplay this time, and I misunderstood the game state. So the way George plays is that he kind of plays opposite. And his trash pile, his discard pile, actually is on the side where a normal, not normal player, I guess, but a normal, like, mat, where the normal raising area would be. And his raising area is sitting where the standard trash pile would be. And I saw an Elecmon on top of his trash pile under the pretense that that was his raising area and he was going to be promoting that Elecmon next turn. I only had 3 security, and that Elecmon would have given him 4 attackers, so I thought he actually had me on the back foot and he was about to win the game. So I hard played a Grizzlymon for 5 to give me a blocker to make sure I survived, and then when he drew for turn he said the words hatch, and I'm thinking, oh shit. So that Elecmon was actually never coming up in the first place, and he never had a 4th attacker coming onto the field. But by giving him that 5 memory with an established board that he already had, he was able to ride up into a big chain of Digimon and just wipe me out completely and punish me severely. So, you know what? You know, I deserve that. That's on me. But, you know, it happens. So game 2, I was in a weird position where I had a bunch of ultimates in my hand, but I didn't want to just pass the turn and put him... I had a Mega on the field. It was a Plesiomon, and I was able to crash over one of his Digimon and leave him with just a Garurumon on the field. He had nothing in his raising area at the time, so I wanted to leave him with literally nothing. And I evolved into an Omnimon to give him 6. I debated this for a really long time because I didn't just want to pass the turn and put him at 3, because 3 is still enough memory in the mirror to potentially build up to something big, and I didn't want to give him the opportunity to go into his own Megas and run mine over potentially. So I used Omnimon. I put him to 6, I popped his Garurumon, and I literally left him with complete blank board. But unfortunately, with 6 memory, he had more than enough to build up to a Mega literally from scratch in his raising area. And then on his next turn, he brought it up, he Omnimon my Omnimon back, and then from that point forward, I was on the back foot, and I could not respond to his Omnimon. So, that was it. Was my first loss. I got 2-0'd. Totally my bad, but hey, that's how the game is played. That's what happens. You learn from it, you get stronger, you stand up, you move forward. So now we're going to go into round 3, and this was kind of a red Sora theme character deck. It was actually kind of cool, and it was really frustrating for a little while because both game 1 and 2 went very similarly. So I'm just going to kind of lump them together. My opponent kept playing Starlight Explosion, and I'm going to flash that on screen right now if you're unfamiliar with it. But what it does is that it gives, I believe it's plus 7,000 to your security Digimon until the end of the turn. So it was a kind of a big deterrent for me from attacking into her security, because I didn't want to just lose my Digimon, because then I wouldn't have enough memory to come back. And despite us constantly memory choking and memory denying each other, Starlight Explosion being so cheap, it kept kind of stopping me from wanting to attack, while she kept building up Birdramons and Garudamons as well to swing back. But thankfully, Metal Garurumon was able to put a lot of pressure onto her, because again, similarly to the purple strategy, I was able to kind of pop out the Grizzlymon and kind of stop incoming attacks consistently. So yeah, that was a quick 2-0 on that end, and then we moved on to round 4. So round 4, we played a green deck, and this is a bit of an interesting matchup, because if they can get established, they can start controlling your board with cards like Lilymon and Rosemon, where they can just start suspending all your Digimon and prevent you from attacking. And then they can follow up with a big card like Puppetmon to keep your entire board suspended, keep you on the back foot, and kind of prevent you from making any further attacks on them. What I did in game 1 is that I was able to kind of control the game by constantly attacking into his Digimon to make sure that he had nothing to evolve into further. He also had a play where he attacked with Digitamamon, the memory barber, where he gains 3. So then he dropped Cherrymon immediately after, but because of the memory that I had to gain back from Cherrymon, it actually put me all the way to 10. So on my turn, I was able to drop my Puppetmon basically for free, only putting him to 1 memory, and I was able to suspend the Cherrymon that he just put into play, and that allowed him to be memory choked and denied on his turn, so he didn't really have many plays that he could have made. Going back into my turn, I was able to take out both of his Digimon, and then from there just kind of take out the rest of his security little by little, because he had no resources left. Game 2, again, we just kind of played the memory denial game back and forth. It got to a point where I was able to set up a Plesiomon early with a Upamon in my source and a Wergarurumon in my source. So every single time he tried to set up a board, I was able to attack with security attack +1, and I got to draw a card, just generating insane amounts of advantage, and I never let him keep a Digimon staying on the board. So now we're going to go into round 5, and this was a red Omnimon match. So again, this match, game 1, I kept using my Plesiomons to kind of crash into his big megas as well. So when you're playing an Omnimon mirror match in any capacity, any color, you kind of want to lean on your level 6s and your megas a lot, and then you only want to count Omnimon if absolutely necessary. And this was my mistake when I played George, because generally the first person Omnimon in any sort of mirror match is the first person to lose, because you're giving your opponent insane amounts of memory and they can just kind of build up for free. So in this situation, he would build up to his mega, which in this case is either Phoenixmon or War Greymon. I built up to my mega with a Gomamon in my source, and I was able to crash into it, gain a memory, and then that way I could still play more Digimon and then still be kind of ahead of the game. Then it was in a situation where we traded resources back and forth. I only had 1 security. He had 1, I believe it was Monodramon up on the field, and he had a Greymon that was in his raising area threatening to come up on the next turn. I just dropped Volcanic Dramon, put him to 9 to kill the Monodramon, and I basically told him he better have Gaia Force, or else I was going to win on the next turn, because he brought up his Greymon, he didn't have an extra attacker to kill my security, and at that point I had Volcanic Dramon and 2 other attackers to wipe out his remaining 2 security. Game 2, it got into a point where I opened pretty much 4 rookies, and yeah, I just rookie rushed. I used as much memory as I could as efficiently as possible to just keep drawing rookie after rookie after rookie. Thankfully, 2 or 3 of them were Gabumon, so they just kind of kept generating me advantage. And then yeah, I just threw my rookies all at his security. He didn't draw enough blockers to stop me, and that was pretty much the end of the game. So now we're going to go into round 6. So round 6, we actually played against a rookie rush deck. And I've got a few notes here, because this is a very fun and intense match. A shout out to Hydrojon. We played 3 times total over the last 3 events that we participated in. He has not taken a match off me. He's taken a few games, but he's come this close to getting his revenge. But great guy. Anyway, we're gonna talk about how this match actually went, because I really want to discuss this in detail. So game 1, I set up multiple blockers early. So the thing in Rookie Rush is that they're rookies, so they're very tiny. They're very small. They cannot kind of pierce that 6,000 threshold that most standard blockers have. Furthermore, a lot of their cards in their security stack is meant to kind of be a defensive reaction. So Rookie Rush is one of the few decks, aside from like green, that plays stuff like Flower Cannon. And what Flower Cannon does is that it suspends every single Digimon on the field except for blocker. So if I can establish several blockers as I'm going to take my game shot, if I hit a Flower Cannon, my blockers will stay unsuspended, and they can actually attack to potentially finish the game off. So, yeah, we gained a ton of advantage off of attacking his surviving Digimon as well. Sometimes it ended up happening that he would attack with a rookie, and then he would actually hit a 2,000 or a 1,000 Digimon in our security stack, and then their Digimon, his rookies would actually stay alive. And the whole point of the rookie rush strategy, you generally just want to kind of throw rookies at your opponent's security. You don't really care if they get sacrificed or not. You just want to throw as many Digimon as possible, and then throughout the course of the game, you're just going to whittle your opponent down with as an aggressive strategy as possible. But by controlling the board and attacking over every single Digimon that he had remaining that survived, he wasn't able to kind of build up enough momentum to come back. Game 2, he actually was able to beat me because I only opened one rookie the entire game, and it forced me to give him giant swings in memory because there was no way for me to give him less than 3, and I could not choke him out. So he was able to just kind of flood the board and take away all of my life relatively quickly. Game 3, it got into a point where I was deliberately doing a similar strategy to the blockers, but to try to conserve as much memory as possible, I was hard playing my rookies to then evolve into Grizzlymon. So Grizzlymon normally to hard play is 5, but what I was doing is I was hard playing a rookie for 2 and then evolving for 2 into 4. And what this did is that sometimes when he would leave me at 2 or 3, it would allow me to only give him 2 or 1 on the backswing as well, which kind of limited his options. And again, we just kind of played the same strategy as game 1, and we used Upamon to kind of gain memory and advantage because we had another Digimon off to the side with an Upamon as a source, so we built up at least 2 blockers, and then we just kind of swung with Gorillamon as well, because since he's also playing Rookie Rush, as we know, the Digimon in his security stack aren't very big, so we don't have to worry about evolving into large numbers to make sure that we survive in attacking a security. So yeah, that was the end of day 1, and at the end of day 1, we finished 5-1, losing only to Espira George Moniz. And yeah, that is unfortunate, and we finished 2nd place. Our tiebreakers just weren't enough to carry us over, but unfortunately there was an actual undefeated person in the event, and he was able to kind of overtake us in terms of points. But yeah, that is it for my day 1 experience. If you guys are willing to stay tuned and listen to my day 2 experience, that's also going to be coming onto the channel very soon. All right, guys, take care.